Welcome to the Totally Awesome Fishing Show, and I am in the Totally Awesome workshop. Yes indeedy, I'm going to make no bones about it, it's a mess, like my workshop is most of the time. A lot of my little DIY films and tips we used to do in here, I have it all pristine and as tidy so I can get it. There is no chance of that happening now. I've got about 8 different projects on the go here. Anyway, this one is for shore fishing for conger, wait for this, from jetties or stone piers. Now, you can get the regular tripod like this to put your rods up on, can't you? But I don't like doing that for conger because it can whiz over the side real easy. So what we used to do years ago, we did a lot of conger fishing, and it does apply if you're fishing off deep water drop marks as well, is you just use, because if you've got big conger in a snaggy area, the emphasis is on you losing big time. So you need some chunky tackle. Generally, it would be up-tiding rods, or light boat rods, sort of 20-pound class boat rods, even, wait for this, 30-pound boat rods off the pier dropping straight down. Trust me, I've done a lot of conger fishing. They will take you in the snag and you won't stop them even on 30 sometimes. But the emphasis used to be just a plain stone pier like this. You used to lay the rods down. That's fine. Out of gear, because I've already seen a rod go over the side. Out of gear, clicker on, so when that conger comes along, picks a bait up, snaffles it, just moves off slowly, you hear just the noise of the clicker, like this, just going like this, okay? Now I've done this for years, like 30 years, been listening to that, but sometimes you don't always hear it. Sometimes it can be sort of stormy night, windy, just rough, and you've got noise of boats slapping, hulls, water, anything like that, sort of draws you away. Oh yeah, and I'm going a bit Mutt and Jeff as well. No, that's deaf for people who live in other countries. Mutt and Jeff, Cockney rubbish slang for deaf. Anyway, if you're hard of hearing, I said if you're hard of hearing, get yourself a big clicker, obviously. No, what I'm trying to say is, I thought about this, why don't I use the cart buzzers? Because sometimes you don't always hear this, and also you've got the visual aspect on a dark pier, not all of them are lit up, of not being able to see the rod. So you go click, 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 if you've got 2 or 3 rods out, which one is it? So I'm going to make a conger rod rest for keys, piers, stone flat jetties like this. So you can lay the rod down but this way, okay? And I'm going to make it out of this. Is all an experiment, it has never been tested, tried or anything. The good old-fashioned pallet wood, where I made things out of pallet wood. Any of you who watch my DIY programs will see they have a huge success rate. What can I make from a pallet wood? Well, these are the beams, if you like, the supports for pallet wood. They would be about 3 inch by 1 inch, I would guess. I've cut them into 2 6-inch. Shall I say that again? I've cut them into 2 6-inch sections, one on top of the other like this, and I'm going to nail them together just to give me enough height so that I can put my buzzer on there. And I've got a unique way of doing this, and I'm telling you what I'm going to do. I'm also going freshwater fishing using these. I think it would save me rod rests on stony ground. This could really work. It could catch on. I could be a millionaire. Okay, dream on, Graeme. This is what I'm going to do. People, this is so simple, it's almost painful, right? The 2 blocks, one on top of the other, that will give me, for those who are technically minded, it will give me a ground clearance of exactly 3 inches. Okay, I'm going to use some regular galvanised nails. They don't rust well in salt water. Well, I'm using them because I've got them. I'm going to make them, to fix this tight, in a triangle, which is, those people who used to do physics at school will know that the strongest geometrical shape is a triangle. Unless there's a new one out there. We laugh when we do this because the camera microphone has a little bar and it absolutely goes off the scale with the microphone recording, the decibels when I do this. It also goes off the decibels when I hit my thumb. This really is an easy one. Okay, so there is my base, if you like, the base of my rod rest. And onto that I want to fix my fishing buzzer. Now a lot of you guys will see these, are familiar with them, freshwater anglers. These, you know, little beepers can drive you mad if it's windy, but you've got to have them. How am I going to fix that, which has a thread to go into a rod rest, into there? So I got thinking, this has got to be free. It's got to be free. I do not want to buy anything if I can help it. So, rummaging amongst my many jars of nuts, bolts, screws, everything, nails, I came up with a nut that I found that actually fits on the end of here. So all you've got to do is I'm doing it because I've got loads of nuts and bolts because I'm a nutter with the nuts. Oh, I like that one, Graeme. I've got plenty of nuts and bolts. So if you don't have a workshop, just take your actual unit into an ironmonger's, and doubtless they will probably find you possibly a stainless one that will fit that. Now I've got to get that nut to go into the wood, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drill out a tiny hole, just using a bit that is just very slightly smaller than the width of this hexagonal or octagonal, whatever it is, nut. Just a little bit smaller, and I'm going to pinch in with a hammer. It's so easy, it's really good fun. Now this is nice and stable, that's why I'm using this heavy block wood. It's not going to blow around in the wind. Little X where you sort of guess the middle is going to be. Get your drill. They have a little point to them in case guys don't know. They do have a point there, and that's to start it and to give you a guide to go in there. So put the point in there, just push it a touch, it's in, and away we go. I'm just going to rock it a little bit, and that makes a little wider opening at the top. Sort of tapered is what it makes it. Now then, what happens is, if I put the nut in there to the depth of the nut, right, and then I screw this in, if I screw it in too tight, the unit, you'll see just there maybe that the nut, the actual bolt section, the threaded section is protruding from the nut. So that if you jam it in and it's not that depth, it's going to pull this nut, the whole thing will pop out. And I don't really want to glue it, I just want to pinch it in there just to hold that in position like that. So make sure when you drill that little depression, little hole in there, not going right through, you just want to be, whatever unit you're using, buzzer unit, you want to make the hole deeper than that, just by 1/4 of an inch, that's all, just deeper than the thread. I'll just make that a little bit deeper. Take it out. Don't even need sandpaper this. Now what I do then is you'll see that nut is just about level there. Now I'm going to give it one tap, just one, because I do not want to burr over anything here that stops the thread going in. Right, let's pinch it. That's 2 taps, Graeme. That's 3 taps. Get it nice and level, and then get a scrap of wood over the top of the nut. Do not hit your fingers with this, and give it a whack. Just drive it right down. Ow, I hurt my ears. Until you get it in there. You can level it up actually by just going over the other side. You can see, using it edgeways, it's just going to level it up a little bit, and that's perfect. There we go. Now then, that is jammed in there. Will this fit in there? If it does, it's a completely new, innovative way of fishing. Yes indeedy, it does indeed screw down there. Now one of the problems I have with like buzzer bar units and everything like that is they don't go low enough for me when I'm freshwater fishing. I'm making this one, actually, let's pull that back. I'm making this one for sea fishing. That's what I'm making it for, sea fishing. So you can see there, I can beep it on. I love it. So that's for sea fishing. There's no reason why you couldn't do this, because I like my rods to be really, really low down and pointing into the water. And all those sort of stand things you buy, the rods are just out. I cannot crank them. I know they adjust, I do know they adjust, but they don't adjust enough for me to go straight down the line into the water, level with the height of my chair. So like Clint Eastwood, Cowboy, if you haven't seen the film, it's good, Fistful of Dollars. This one's called A Fistful of Nuts and Bolts. I want to be able to strike fast. So I like to be low down, and I feel that this might actually work. And do you know what? I'm actually going to make one as a butt rest for freshwater fishing. But this one is just this block for conger fishing. I'll just show you how it works. This will be laying on the stone of the key edge. I drop my bait out on my big rod. I just lower this down into the little paddle that's in there, like this. The line will be straight, nice and tight, straight down. I still have it out of gear, look. I can still have the clicker so that any conger can actually take line. But if I rest it on there and I move it, especially if I switch it on. Do you know these things work really, really well if you switch them on? Here we go. Thank you, I barely touched it. Now, not only am I going to get that when a conger takes it, I'm also going to get, if you'll notice, a visual aspect here of the red light, which on a dark of a pier is dead handy for fishing 3 or 4 rods, and you don't know which one's got the clicker going. You've now got the audible clicker, you've got the visual aspect here of the light that's on, and you've got the audible beep of the buzzer. But let's say you hook up a fish, that's gone. I can see the problem coming immediately. You're fighting the fish, you're moving up and down the quay, it could be 8 pounds. No, it's bigger, it's 10, no, it's 15 pounds, it might be 20 pounds. And in the excitement, what do? You kick this straight off into the water because you can't see it. So therefore, although it's, as far as I'm concerned, a totally brilliant idea, I am going to paint this either white or yellow. You may ask yourself why the choice of colours. It's because I don't know what's free and is on my shelf out there. So it's going to be white or yellow. Possibly if the tin is half empty, it could even be a mixture of both. I'll show you what it's like when it's finished. Oh, I could play with it all night. Strike. The painting's done. Here it is, all finished. I've got my multiplier laying on the quayside. I don't normally watch my bites laying on my side of the quay, just to show you it does work. I've got the clicker, and as slow as I want to pull, visual and audible on the buzzer or bite indicator. But hang on, although this works well, what about if you've got a big fixed spool reel? Ah, I've got that one covered as well. Ordinarily, the fixed spool reel is going to be resting like this on the bottom, just purely because it's going to want to fall over and you can't get, I'll put him on for you, like this, it's going to fall over. I've got round that by making it, wait for this, yes, my own miniature back rod rest. So, by putting this at the back, I can raise up the butt like this, I can keep my spool, if I want to fish with a bail arm open and a run clip here, I can do, or I can just leave the loose drag like this, and if I pull it from the front, wow, it's working as well. It's just made there, as you can see, with a piece of coat hanger wire bent up. And away we go. I can see it's going to be conger fishing heaven.